Hey guys, if you're shopping for knives and gear, make sure you check out the description of the video you're watching right now for links to some great online retailers. There's also individual links for knives that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review slash knife overview to share with you guys. This is a knife that I have no idea why I haven't checked this knife out yet, but I'm really excited to talk about it. This is the Spyderco Military. Wow, this thing is a monster. I think the only knife, I mean in this, I guess in this shape, a knife that's comparable to this in the Spyderco line that's actually a little bit longer, I think is the Police. But God, this thing is a huge knife. I've always been curious about this thing. As many knives as I've handled and shown on this channel, as many Spyderco knives as I've shown on this channel, I had, up until this point, I had never handled this thing, and it is a whopper. Holy cow. I've got lots to say as per usual. Thanks so much to my generous patrons for supporting me right now. If you are enjoying the daily knife content on this channel and you'd like to support me, you can find my Patreon link down in the description. There's lots of cool stickers and other benefits. And please follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Let's go ahead and get a measurement of this gigantic Spyderco knife. Overall length of the Spyderco Military coming in at 9.5 inches overall. Blade length 4.2, yeah, not quite 4 1/4. Cutting edge 3.75 inches, even considering it has a forward choil. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. We're going to start off here with the Microtech SOCOM Elite, which is a big knife, one of the largest that I carry. Look at this. This is crazy. I think the SOCOM Elite comes in at about 9 inches overall. How about up against the Rat Model 1? Rat 1 coming in at 8.6 inches overall. How about up against the Spyderco PM2? Spyderco PM2 coming in at 8.3 inches overall. Look at this. The PM2 is not a small knife. Oh my gosh, this thing is gigantic. There's going to be so many "that's what she said" jokes. Get them out of your system, you dorks. All right, how about up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue? Ritter Hogue coming in at 8 inches overall. How about up against the Spyderco Para 3? Spyderco Para 3 coming in at 7 1/4 inches overall. And last but not least, the Benchmade Mini Griptilian. Mini Griptilian coming in at 6.75 inches overall. How's the action on this guy? This is a liner lock. I had forgotten that the Military was a liner lock and not a compression lock. And it is running on phosphor bronze. It's exactly what you'd expect a knife like this to... Well, I'm not going to say that. It does not have this going for it. This whole drop shutty thing. Perhaps some people have a smoother one. I don't necessarily think... I mean... It's not necessarily that it's not smooth, it's just tight. And perhaps loosening the pivot would help with that a little bit. But truthfully, your reverse flicks, right? Your thumb flicks, right? All that stuff, you can still do it just fine. It is very, because of the size and all the space that you have, it is very easy to deploy that knife. I have no idea what the original design philosophy with this thing was, considering it's called the Military. I'm gonna guess maybe that's where it was, you know, the suggested group of people that might make use of this, I don't know. Or people who just like to carry really big knives. In any case, whoever it is that's carrying this is not going to find that there's any difficulty deploying it, getting the blade out. It's just gigantic. It's very easy to disengage the liner lock. There's lots of room to get in there and move it out of the way, right? And yeah, I mean, it's cool. And it makes a nice thwack when it comes out because the blade is so long, right? Sounds good, feels good, looks good. It's not going to have that, you know, the modern knife enthusiast fall shut action element to it. It's just not going to have that. But I like that it's on phosphor bronze. This is definitely a knife that's ready to get down and dirty. More jokes incoming. Yeah, I mean, the phosphor bronze makes sense on this. So that's cool. I like that. Let's go ahead and do carry profile. So thickness up against the Spyderco. Where did I put it? There it is. The Spyderco Para 3. Thickness on the guy is surprisingly exactly the same as the Spyderco Para 3. How about length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3, two knives that have awkward carry profiles and nobody seems to complain about? Wow, it is just as tall at its maximum height. In fact, is it a little bit taller? No, it's probably about the same. Let me look at my light. It's about the same. But it is freaking huge. It's super long. This is definitely something you are going to notice in the pocket versus a lot of other commonly sized knives, or versus knives like the PM2 and Para 3 that every other person who's watching this channel probably has in their collection. Not really, but these are common knives, right? This is a big knife. I think that's apparent. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. Get out my tools here. You can find my tools down in the description. These two are very, very inexpensive and very recommendable. The pivot looks gigantic. I'm going to try a T15 first. Yeah, that is a T15. I always like to check one more size up just in case we're going to check a T20. I don't think it's a T20. I think it's a T15. Yeah, it's a T15. And then your body screws look like probably T8. Yes, those are T8. So that's great. It has a gigantic pivot adjustment head. You're very unlikely to strip that. Spyderco screws tend to be on the softer side, so I very much appreciate that these are T8. I would still proceed with caution taking this guy apart. I have definitely stripped out Spyderco T8 screws before. Just make sure that bit head is all the way in there, and if it seems like it's too tight, don't wrench on it. There's some other means of getting those out of there if you really have to get into it. The biggest problem with this assembly on this guy is going to be the same issue that plagues both the PM2 and the Para 3, and that's the fact that this lanyard tube is actually lipped up over the G10, or it's very tightly fitted in there. So what a lot of people do is they take the screws out completely, and then they take the scale and they sort of scissor it out like this, and then you kind of have to wiggle, and it's a mess. And this thing almost always gets eaten up. So if you have to, take the knife apart to clean it, don't try to get the scale off of the tube. Just move it out of the way and then take the blade out and clean it and put everything back together. If you're trying to take the scales completely off for whatever reason, most likely if you're going to customize it, well, you're in for it. That's not very fun to do, so it's kind of a bummer. I wish that they would stop using this lanyard tube thing, but okay, whatever. What have we not talked about yet? Let's go ahead and talk about blade thickness. Get out my calipers here real quick. Thickness on this guy. By the way, I didn't mention, this knife was sent to me by Mike. Thank you so much, Mike, for sending this guy, and I should have mentioned that right at the beginning of the review here. Make sure that we're zeroed out. Blade stock thickness on the military coming in at 145 thousandths. Yeah, I think it's just about the same thickness as a PM2 and Para 3. Yeah, okay. But there's a lot more total material here, and on the inside, I know it's kind of dark. You can pick up my flashlight down in the description. There is a steel cartridge liner. It is not the entirety of the body, though. It's just, I would say it covers maybe 50 to 60%, which is fine. The G10 is plenty tough and it's plenty thick. You're not going to have to worry about that. I don't think this knife needs much more reinforcement. It would have just added to the overall weight, which, by the way, is not terrible. Honestly, 4.3 ounces. We are almost looking at an ounce an inch as far as blade length goes. Yeah, wow, okay, it's really not that bad. I honestly thought that was going to come in at 5 ounces, which still wouldn't have been bad. But if you're going to carry a freaking huge knife like this, they did a really good job keeping the structural integrity, right? Keeping the, basically the resiliency or its ability to withstand, the environment that it was meant to be used in, right? And then keeping the weight minimized. That's pretty impressive. I honestly was not expecting that. I like to do these, organically on camera so that I can react to it and give my actual thoughts right there in the moment. So that's pretty cool. By the way, the military will be linked right down below. You can absolutely buy this right now. And I'll also link Spyderco knives in general so you can check that out. All right, have we gotten through all of that? I think we have. Let's go ahead and take a look at the anatomy of this knife here. We have the pretty typical Spyderco peel ply textured G10 scale. It's been nicely rounded off all the way around. Fit and finish on this guy is exactly what you'd expect for a Golden, Colorado, USA Earth Spyderco. This is a US-made Spyderco fit and finish. Yeah, it's good. It's not quite, you know, I mean, there's a lot of simplicity in this, right? A lot of the really, you know, complex machine work and stuff that you see from Spyderco comes from their Taichung, Taiwan plant, and you know, so we're not really comparing apples to apples. But as far as, you know, fit and finish goes, for Spyderco knives in general, and you know, comparing with other US Spydercos, this has great fit and finish. I have no issues with that whatsoever. The spider hole, in this case, this is a DLC blade. It's kind of sharp up here on the spine, kind of not really that big of a deal. The satin finish ones, I imagine it's going to be about the same. You know, it might be a little bit sharper. Not really a problem. This is a fully flat ground blade, and it does get somewhat thin down here behind the edge. It's not going to be a laser beam, right? But it's not thick or anything like that. This is definitely going to be, as far as Spyderco knives go, this is going to be, you know, more of the same. You do have a tip that's going to be pretty delicate out here. I'm kind of with, you know, they did the Police 4 apparently in K390. A knife like this, you know, S30V is going to be fine, I think, you know, but for people who really want to take this thing out and beat on it and use it hardcore, I think the way that it was intended, I'd really like to see this in K390. I think they did an M4 Spyderco military one time, and I think that makes a lot of sense. I think steel with some more toughness, I think, makes more sense. But again, it depends on where you live, because K390 and M4 are not corrosion resistant, right? So even if they are coated like this one, if you live in an area where corrosion is a problem, it may not be the best choice. So it really depends on what you're using it for. The size of this knife and me thinking about where I would carry this, what I would use it for, I would like some increased toughness. S30V is okay. It's still a premium steel. It's very well rounded and versatile. But I wouldn't call this design a versatile design. This is like a very specific, you know, it's for a specific group of people, or people who just want to carry really big knives. But, you know, as far as where this thing is going to shine in a usage situation, I think I would like some additional toughness. But, okay. Of course, you know, blade looks great. The bevels on both sides, the cutting bevels, are equal and even. That's great. There is not a sharpening choil on this, which is, again, something that Spyderco just insists on. So that edge is going to start to look weird over time if you use this all the time. Ergonomics on this guy. Wow, there is a lot of space on this handle. So choked up, you can see where my hand is at right here. Let's move back. More space. Back here, you're going to choke back on it. Yeah, 3 full different positions for your hand. I wear an XL glove. Most people are going to have the exact same experience as me. If your hands are gigantic, this is a great knife for you. If you have truly monstrous hands, you're still going to have absolute ergonomic freedom on this thing, and you're going to love it. The pocket clip is kind of a bummer. This is tip down only. I imagine they make a left-handed version of this. If they don't, I'm sorry. I'll link, like I said, I'll link every version of this that's available through Blade HQ right down below. You have one carry position option, and that's tip down. Now, this doesn't have a flipper tab, so that's fine. For people like me who like to carry tip up, we're SOL. You just have to carry it like this. That's fine. A lot of people argue because of the clip position and the way that the, you know, because of the clip position on knives like this, and it makes it easier to deploy faster. I don't know if maybe for some people. For me, I've gotten so used to tip up, right? This is where my hand is. My finger's already right there ready to go. Some people say, well, if you pull it out like this, then your thumb's in the right position and it'll play. Whatever. Whatever. I could care less about potential deployment speed, but some people do. For the vast majority of the people who are wondering, you know, where is the clip positioned, because it's just an ease of, you know, it's a comfort of carry thing to me. Yeah, you're going to have to carry this tip down. All right. The clip is gigantic. It follows the curvature of the knife. You're going to have about this much of the knife sticking up out of your pocket, which is kind of shallow. But then again, in relationship with the entire length of the knife, most of it is still in your pocket. So I don't know. I don't really like that sticking up out of my pocket, but okay, whatever. They've put it around the pivots, so, and the position of the lanyard hole really doesn't matter because the clip is on the other side of the knife. So there's a lanyard hole down there for people who want to use lanyards and have even more hanging out of their pocket, or in their pocket in this case. You're going to put a lanyard on, it's going to be down here. The lanyard hole, it makes exceptionally less sense on this knife than knives like, you know, the Spyderco PM2, where you have the option to carry tip up. You're going to have the lanyard here and hanging out of your pocket. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about lanyard philosophy. I'm just not a lanyard person. It just, that whole thing seems kind of silly to me, and the fact that this does have a lanyard hole. But anyways, moving on, we've got a couple of standoffs back here. I do appreciate that it's, you know, minimal screws, but again, that, you know, the fact that it does have minimal hardware pales, you know, under the massive shadow that is the difficulty of disassembling a knife like this. So, anyways, moving on here. The other side of the knife is much the same as the front. I'm going to guess the pivot is captive, like, you know, most other Spyderco knives. So, and that's really pretty much it. I mean, the centering is dead on. The liner lock engages at a totally reasonable 50%. Yeah, 50%. No blade play up, down, left, or right. Absolutely solid. So, nitpicks. Again, things that bother me here. Well, number one, it doesn't really bother me that much. I live in an area where I can carry whatever I want, but this thing is freaking gigantic. It, even considering you know, the weight of this guy is really good for how much blade you get. You get a lot of usable blade, right? It's just going to be too big for the average person to carry. It's too much knife. Even though it isn't that heavy, it's too much knife. It's already awkward because of that large hump there to give you access to that hole, right? But it's just going to be too big. There's no sharpening choil. Of course, this has the old Spyderco lanyard tube that just makes it a pain in the butt, right? The clip bugs me. I really want to carry this tip up, and I really want, you know, there to not be a lanyard hole, but okay, whatever. Yeah, I think that's about it. I would also really like to see this thing with a compression lock. I understand, you know, it's an older model. It's been around for a really long time. For anybody who's not familiar with this knife, it's been around for a really long time. I would love to see this thing in a compression lock, but I think the liner lock works just fine. It's solid. I just want that compression lock fidget factor. I think this would be better, and I'm far from the first person to say that, right? I'd also like to see this thing. I know they do they do an S110V military? They've done some sprints and some different seals. I want them to bring a production K390 military to the table. I checked around on the internet. I am not the only person who thinks that. I think K390 would work really well on this knife, just as an option for people like me who really don't need that extra corrosion resistance out where I live, right? I think that would really be great. Give some much needed toughness out at this, you know, pretty delicate tip. This is not a tip you want to go jamming into stuff and prying. You shouldn't be prying with a knife anyway, right? Overall, though, it's really well built. You know, if you really, really like this and you don't care about my little nitpicks, I think you're going to be really happy with this. Another downside here is that this is expensive. This version that you're looking at here, this all black version, is $205. The standard version of this is $195, right? We're looking at Shaman prices here, and the Shaman is definitely overpriced. I love the Shaman. It's overpriced, though. Shaman started out at 155 bucks, then they bumped it to 180, and then they bumped it again to 200, right? The Spyderco PM2 right now I think is 140 or 150, and it's overpriced. I remember when the PM2 was 120, and it's probably been less than that at some time. Maximum price on this knife should be 150 bucks. I have no idea why this knife is so expensive. This is well built, and for people who really like big knives and you can carry big knives, and if you like Spyderco knives, right, then yeah, this is really going to be great for you, especially if you're not bothered by the whole tip-down pocket clip carry thing. But there are too many things here that just make it not a knife that's right. If the price was less, I'd be like, yeah, knock yourself out, but it's made well. It's a good knife. It's certainly going to serve people who carry it really well. In fact, there's probably a ton of people who carry this knife who are going to just swear by it, and I think you're probably right. You know, but for the everyman, this is just, it's too expensive, and it's just huge, right? I don't necessarily, you know, as far as like which knives make it on that recommendable playlist, it's a combination of a lot of stuff, right? But a lot of times the final determining factor is it well made? Is it, you know, functional for the environment it was designed to be used in? And does the price make sense? In this case, check, but the price thing is, yeah, so that combined with the fact that it is gigantic and just cumbersome, right? It's not going to be something that's recommendable for everybody, but it's still really good. If you can choke down that price and my other nitpicks that I you know, that I handed out to this guy, I think you're going to be really happy with this. And this is obviously a well-made tool that's going to serve a lot of people really well for a really long time. Love that it's using phosphor bronze. That's great. Liner lock seems plenty durable. Obviously, you know, well, the cold steel triad lock is the toughest lock in law. Yeah, I know. There's stronger locks out there, but for what you're going to use this knife for, even in an extreme circumstance, that liner lock is going to be just fine. If you define extreme circumstance as scaling a building, using the knife as a diving board, using the knife as a tool that you would pry the motor out of an old truck with, well, then probably not, right? But if you're using your knife for reasonable knife stuff and maybe periodically some things outside of the realm of normal for a knife, I think the Spyderco Military is going to be just fine. If they wanted $200 for a K390 version, oh, I'd be tempted. I'd be tempted there. I think that'd be really cool. In any case, this was fun. I really appreciate you, Mike, for sending this guy in and letting me take a look at it. Where is my little Instagram thing? Is it gone? Is my little... Oh, there it is. That's going to be pretty much it today, guys. You can check out the Spyderco Military down in the description, all versions that are currently available, as well as Spyderco knives in general. If you've never experienced them, they make really good stuff, so I urge you to check that out. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.